Don't copy. Don't copy. Don't copy. Do your own. Do your own. No, that's another word. I want to go.
Do not say that. I want to show it. Come on.
Oh, okay.
You can do it. All right. Ready? Oh, I got it. Mommy, I
Okay, write your name there. R-O, and your full name, Alexandra. H-O-G.
You guys are working on your headbands? Great job. Okay, good. That's brown.
A way to celebrate when we're halfway through the winter season. So February 2nd is halfway between the start of winter and the end of winter, according to our calendar. Look at all these Misty supporters. So that's why we celebrate on February 2nd. And we would love to have all of you come to Drumlin Farm on the 2nd. 1, 2, 3. Now we need to have a little bit of listening. I know you are so excited to be here, and we are so happy to have all of you. Okay?
Hi, Mom.
Do you guys know what's going to happen when the senators and representatives come in?
I've ever seen such enthusiastic campaigners. I'm so impressed.
No, Brayden. How? Let's see your smile. Let's see your smile. Normal face.
Forward to hearing what you have to say this afternoon, and I would just like to underscore what's already been said about the need to...
She is polite.
Very good.
Yes.
This hearing will now come to order. My name is Peter Kokot, and I'd like to establish some rules for this hearing. If you were at a hearing room in Boston right now, what I would say is, if any of you have cell phones, please put them on vibrate. If you have any extended conversations with your colleagues, please take them outside this room. And what we will be doing today is we have a list of people who would like to testify on House Bill 2864. We will take that testimony in order. And at this time, I would like to introduce Representative Alice Peisch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would just like to first thank Chairman.
Number two, this is the first legislative hearing that I have been provided snacks at. And so come back to Wellesley every week, if that's okay with you guys, as long as there's little snacks for me. We normally don't have snacks at hearings. Number 3, as mentioned, I'm from Northampton, Massachusetts, which is way out in the western part of Massachusetts. In my neighborhood, we have moose, we have black bear, we have deer, we have bobcat, and I had a groundhog living in my backyard 2 years ago. And the way that I found out about that groundhog was, I love to garden. I have tomatoes, I have peppers, I have all kinds of vegetables. And I would go out every day, and just as the tomatoes would ripen, there'd be one little bite in each tomato. So I said, something is doing this. So one day, one of my boys, and my boys are my size, comes home and he goes, Dad, there's a really big rabbit in our yard. I said, well, how big? He said, that rabbit's about that big. And I said, Jake, that can't be a rabbit. So one day, on the way home from Boston, I pulled into my house, and there was the big rabbit. It was a big groundhog. So I had a groundhog living in my yard, eating my vegetables, getting very big for an entire year. So today, we are going to hear testimony on House Bill 2864. And when we have a hearing in Boston, many times we have hundreds of people at these hearings. So to make sure that it's orderly, we have everyone sign in. So you've already done that. So I have the sheets, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to call your name, and you can come up and you can explain who you are and what you want to testify on. What he did was he just presented written testimony. So many times, if we have a hearing and people can't come, they will submit written testimony to us. We will then read it, and that helps us a lot. The other thing he did was he was just advocating on behalf of a group of people. So he just became a lobbyist as well. And I think he did a really good job.
Than Puxatawny Phil. Puxatawny Phil's average is only about 33%, and Ms. G's average is almost 60% correct. As many of the students have pointed out, she is smart, and she can teach.
Participated in this hearing. You have done a great job. And I don't want to speak on behalf of the other members, but I think things are going to work out very well for Ms. G down in Boston. So thank you for all your hard work, and we will keep you informed. And maybe when this bill is passed, we can do a bill signing at the State House. Representative Price.
That would be wonderful.
So, any more comments? Anything else? Thank you all very much for your participation today. This hearing is hereby closed. And clearly, the smartest groundhogs live in Massachusetts, so we have to get this Miss G bill passed. But I was really impressed with these kids. They were great, and this is just so important to involve them in the political process. And as was mentioned, they're going to be able to learn all sorts of different things based on the process of this bill. It's about science, it's about civics, it's about their role in our political system, it's so important. And by coming out to Wellesley, we've allowed these students to really participate on a personal basis.
Wonderful.
Okay. I wish every hearing went as smoothly as this hearing in Wellesley. I wish every person that testified in front of my committee was as succinct and knowledgeable, so they did fantastic.
And what are your thoughts on the Ms. G bill?
I love all animals, I love groundhogs, and I think this is just a great science teaching tool, and I'm very optimistic about the quick passage of this legislation.
Wonderful. And you're not going to hold it against Ms. G that you had a groundhog who was nibbling in your garden?
They nibbled, they never took the entire tomato, so I have to grow some tomatoes for the groundhogs and some for me.
Well, aren't our kids great? I mean, what a great way for the kids to be so engaged in the legislative process, to be thinking about science and the environment. They're not going to forget this. And so I think it's terrific.
To first thank Chairman Kokut, who is the chairman of the Committee on State Administration, for his willingness to hold this hearing here in Wellesley as opposed to the usual place where we hold hearings, which would be in the State House in Boston. He offered to do this in order to accommodate all of the children who are interested in this bill. So I very much appreciate Chairman Kokut's willingness to do that. I'd like to note for those of you who may not know him that he has traveled from Northampton, Massachusetts to be here. The legislature is not in any kind of formal session today, so I very much appreciate Chairman Kokut's willingness not only to hold this in Wellesley, but to do it on a day when he normally would not have been in this area. And I'd like to make the point that this is, from my perspective, this bill would be very helpful in terms of improving education for the children in the Commonwealth.
I vote for Miss G because she will predict a short winter.
I like Miss G because girls rule.
Yeah!
I like Mrs. G because she is cute. I vote for Miss G because she's cute.
Hey, May?
Yeah.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
There are so many reasons why Miss G should be Massachusetts State Groundhog, and here are some of them. First of all, Punxsutawney Phil got it wrong in 2013 while Miss G got it right. Second, the weather might be different in Pennsylvania than Massachusetts. Example, 6 more weeks of winter in Pennsylvania. Spring is coming in Massachusetts. Third, we don't have to wait for news to come from Pennsylvania, but from our own state near our hometown. Lastly, Miss G is so much easier to write down than Punxsutawney Phil. Without Punxsutawney Phil, you had to write down Punxsutawney Phil predicted this, Punxsutawney Phil predicted that. Punxsutawney Phil was so hard to spell, I had to copy and paste it. Those are some reasons why Miss G should be State Groundhog. I hope you will agree.
Hi, I am Eden. I am 9 years old and I go to Hunnewell. Miss G rocks because she is good at predicting weather. Yeah, last year she got the weather right and Punxsutawney Phil got it wrong. That's why I think Miss G should be State Groundhog.
Thank you very much.
Miss G should be the State Groundhog because people shouldn't be the only representatives. Groundhogs should get to be state representatives too. Miss G should also be president. Miss G rocks because last year Punxsutawney Phil's prediction was wrong and Miss G's was right.
Thank you very much.
I vote for Miss G because she helps kids learn about the weather in Massachusetts. Also, people will like her because she is cute.
Thank you very much.
I vote for Miss G because I can't read my own writing.
I'm like that too. You'll probably be a doctor someday.
Because she's cute, and I think people will like her. Miss G for State Groundhog because she is nice.
Natalie Drago.
I like Miss G because she is cute. I vote for Mrs. G because she is awesome and it's important to know about the weather.
Thank you.
Since 2008, Mass Audubon's resident groundhog and wildlife ambassador, fondly known as Ms. G, has been delivering an annual forecast each Groundhog Day with a prediction for the coming of spring. Her prognostications are celebrated by many fans and meteorologists who attend the yearly ceremonies every February 2nd at Drumlin Farm in Lincoln. Please report favorably on H2864 so Massachusetts can embrace Ms. G as our own official groundhog weather forecaster and as an engaging means to demonstrate the Commonwealth's commitment to science education and conservation. Thank you. All kinds of research and our own experience has shown that when you have an animal in front of kids, they're more engaged, they're more excited, they're willing to learn in new ways that maybe they wouldn't in looking through textbooks. And we found Ms. G, through the thousands of kids that she reaches every year, is just a way for kids to get excited and enthusiastic about learning. So we think she's a fantastic animal ambassador. We have been hoping for a long time for Ms. G to have official status as the groundhog of the Commonwealth, and we're hoping that today's commitment shown through the students and the excitement and energy in the room today is going to help give that final push so she will get her official title.
My daughter and I hope that your committee will report favorably on the Ms. G bill and that one day Ms. G will officially be designated as our very own state groundhog. And to express my deep commitment to this groundhog, my due date is January 31st, but I'm willing to wait for February 2nd.
she's very pretty and she's very smart, so I think she would be a very good groundhog. I think Miss G should be in the royal family. She's really smart.
Do you think Ms. G should be the official state groundhog?
Yes.
Why?
Because she's nice, she's cute and cuddly like a dog. Well, she helps us learn about the weather, and she's very cute, and she's also very smart.
Love it.
Because last year, Puxatawny Phil was, prediction was wrong and Miss G's was right.
So, Brader, why do you think Ms. G should be state groundhog?
Because she's awesome, cuddly, and she's cute. Because Puxatawny Phil was wrong last year and there's different weather here. And if there's like a certain weather there, it's probably different here. And she's just really awesome to me.
Awesome.
Last year, Miss G was right and Puxatawny Phil was wrong.